Hey YouTube, it's Coach Tay with another video tonight, and tonight I've got something a little bit different. We are talking about the Giiker Super Cube, and this is the world's first smart cube. Connects to your Android or iOS device via Bluetooth, and you can use it for training purposes. It comes with some software, and this is kind of the future of cubing, maybe? I don't know. Let's take a look. But before we do that, I want to give a big shout out to Ghost Cuber. This is actually Ghost Cuber's cube. He sent it to me and has let me have it for way longer than he probably should have. I've taken complete advantage of his generosity. Ghost Cuber is a super awesome dude. Thank you for letting me have this cube. I'm going to go ahead and link his channel down below. Check it out. He's a Pyraminx expert, and you know, I've talked enough about that. Let's go ahead and we're going to give you a full guide to all the features of the software, talk about the cube itself, talk about the problems with the cube, and if there are any, all of that stuff. We're going to get into that, and let's go ahead and talk about the cube now. All right, first thing you're going to notice is the headphone attachments on the cube, and those are the way the cube gets charged. It's plastic, and they kind of plug in on the sides there. You've got a little micro USB, or is it USB-C? I forget which. Port there on the bottom plugs into the cube, and that's how you do the charging. And there's a little hole in the center, the two of the stickers for these pins. And you can kind of see right there the pins plug into the cube, and that's how the charging happens. Works really well, and then when you're charging, you've got this neat Giiker logo on the side that lights up, kind of a cool little night light thing going on. My only concern here is that the plastic doesn't feel real strong, and you know, what happens if this thing, if it breaks? And so that's just kind of a concern. Not a big deal, but something that just in a little bit of time I had this cube that I did notice and I was a little concerned with. But more important than that, what we really care about actually is the quality of the cube itself, as we get a good look at it here. And the cube is really nice. That's something I was worried about, and it is not a problem at all. As you're going to see some turns here, and it flows really well. This is a speed cube all the way. Corner cutting and speed are all top notch. One thing you will notice though is that it is really heavy, and now in the cubicle it says it's about I think it was like 110 grams, and that's only about 15 or 20 grams heavier than most modern cubes, but it feels a lot heavier than that, and it is a significant difference when you're holding it in your hands. You do get used to it. It's not a huge deal, but it is a big difference, and you are going to notice it. But again, performance is really good. The other thing is it has really strong magnets. You know, you can't really hear it here, but you can see it, and there is a really strong click. Now, for somebody who likes like me, who likes really strong magnetics, click, not a problem. But if you like weaker magnets, that might be an issue for you. And something else also, I don't know if I'll be able to work in some audio with this, is that the cube itself is super loud, and it makes a really annoying clicking sound every time you make a turn, kind of a rattly clicking sound, and that's incredibly annoying. And here I am pointing out the center holes again, because we're going to talk about the colors of the cube, and you'll hear me mention that or refer to them several times throughout. And the colors on this cube are just awful. I have no idea why they went with the shades they did. They used a terrible pink instead of red, this awful teal green thing, and an orange that almost looks red on its own. Just really bad. And this is something I fought with all over the place when I'm was making this video and also just using the cube is the terrible sticker shades. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the app that comes with the cube that you have to download, and that is the Super Cube app. It connects with via Bluetooth, so you have to have Bluetooth and GPS turned on. And we'll go ahead and look at all the different features of the application. And this works on iOS and Android both. You can go ahead and you click the information button. It'll tell you about the app itself. We're on version 1.2 here. And you can also get information on the cube itself. It'll tell you how long it's been, how well it's charged, the name of it, steps being the number of turns, and we'll talk about that later, most likely, the connection status, and so on. You can also do a smart timer. This is actually a solve timer. I'll get into this later. Won't do a solve right here, but you'll see it later. And it actually, it will not allow you to do a solve on a super easy scramble. So you actually have to get it scrambled a certain number of moves before it'll allow you to do a solve. All right, first up, we have the quick solve option. In this is a not particularly useful feature where you go ahead and scramble the cube, and the application is going to walk you through solving the cube. And it asks you to hold the cube in this orientation. And as you can see, I sit here and fight with it just a little bit because of the ridiculously terrible sticker shades. And you hit the OK button, and it's going to tell you the turns to make in order to solve the cube. Now, I don't know who they're targeting here, because pretty much anybody that's going to be buying this cube already knows how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And so I don't know what they're trying to do here. And as you can see, it's not really following any method of anything. It's just, and there's an appearance by my cat. What would a Coach Dave video be without Dash making an appearance? But like I was saying, this doesn't really follow any set method. It's not CFOP. It's not really anything. It just is an FMC or something. I don't know what it's doing. It does flag you if you make a wrong move. You fix the move and move along. And eventually the cube will be solved. Again, not a particularly exciting or useful feature of the software, given the target audience is probably people that already know how to solve a cube. And as you can see, it took 63 seconds. Next up, we have some of the games that come with it, the application. We'll walk through those. I think first up is going to be Cubic Run here in a second. Yep. And so this is actually, again, not a super duper useful or interesting feature, in that this just has you following moves that it does on the screen. You know, and whoop-de-doo, basically. Hold the cube again in the same orientation. And I'll mention this again later, but everything is all in the same orientation in this application. White on the top, blue left, orange to the right. And you're just following the steps. You know, kind of monkey see, monkey do kind of a thing here. Again, not all that exciting. And then we're going to go back to the menu. And now the clone, we're going to clone one side, and here you get to see me struggle for no good reason to match a pattern that should not take very long and it should not be all that hard. And for whatever reason, it takes me a while. Again, the colors just wreak havoc on my recognition. As you can see there, the yellow is not all that great either. And I'll speed this up for you so it's not quite so painful. But the goal is to just make the one side, in this case the yellow side, match the picture that you're being shown. And as I sit here and take forever, and then it will show you your time. Or I'm sorry, it does not show you your time, it just shows you completed it. And yeah, not all that exciting. Complete clone, same kind of a thing, except now it's going to ask you to clone the whole cube. It gives you a pattern, and you're going to be asked to match it. The first one up is the 6-dot pattern that we've all seen before. And again, this one at times, the other, I don't know why the other one doesn't, but this one at times. And again, I struggle with the color recognition here. Because I look at the orange and I see red, and it just messes me up. But again, not all that exciting. If you get to the harder ones, maybe a little more interesting. And but next up is Cubic Escape. This is probably the most interesting of the games. In this one, you are given a little wizard guy, and you have to turn the cube so that he hits the portal in the given number of steps, turns that you're allowed. And this actually progresses and gets really challenging before very long. And it's kind of an interesting way to learn how the cube itself turns and to see how different pieces move and interact with each other. I've seen some people talk about this being maybe a good thing for blind or for FMC, but it's also just a good way to see how the cube moves and just to get used to the way the pieces interact with each other. And it's kind of fun to try different solutions and to see and just to think the way through the different solutions. And the first several, of course, are very easy. We'll jump ahead now to level 11, and it starts adding bombs where you're not allowed to go through that particular spot. If you do, you blow up like that. And you get that not so great English there. And then it gives you another chance. And now you have to work around that solution. So it's a way to move without hitting a particular spot. And you're able to see there as I move around the bomb. And now we'll try another one, I think. Nope. And now, so now that we've gone through the different games, now the cube's messed up, I'm going to go ahead and do a solve. And I apologize in advance for this solve. I hadn't practiced in a while, wasn't used to the cube. Color recognition is very, very difficult on this cube. It was late at night, I was tired. There's my full set of excuses. There's a better solve coming later, but this is not my best work, definitely. Fortunately, I do speed this up, but this is again where the color scheme comes into play, because the colors are just so bad. But also, you'll notice the cube doesn't, the timer app doesn't give you a scramble. It doesn't do a countdown. It's not a WCA timer. And also, if you'll notice, the visual representation on the screen is not the same as what I'm holding. It's always white on top. It's always blue to the left and orange to the right. Now it recognizes what pieces are, or what sides are being turned as I get a 51, but it does not recognize cube orientation. Although I don't show it here, if you click the little down arrow there, it'll show you all the turns you made. Now you'll notice it says 110 steps. That's because it doesn't properly count double turns, and it counts doubles as 2, and it'll read M slices as 4. But there is hope. There is public domain software like this Smart Cube timer that you can get. It's a browser application. This will give you a scramble, and this is where we start getting useful stuff. As you can see, I'm scrambling, and it's ticking off each of the moves. This is where the power of the cube really starts to show up, and that is from third-party developers. And now we'll go ahead and do a solve. And what you're going to see is it's going to track every move I make, every step I make, assuming I'm doing a CFOP. And forgive my first F2L pair and 9 move cross here, but it's going to recognize cube rotations. It'll recognize, the OLLs and PLLs that you're doing. And it tracks every single step of the way. Tells you your TPS, tells you how many turns, counts them accurately, unlike the other one. And this is a very interesting and very useful training tool. You can see where you're having issues, and in my case, F2L is not great. And I had like a 6-second last layer. So clearly I need to work on F2L and cross. And these are things I already knew about. Mainly cross, is I had a 4-second, or mainly F2L, because I had a 4-second cross. And you can see here on the phone itself, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through this stuff. But I've got a 4-second cross and then like a 6 or 7-second last layer. And so I have 11 seconds there, and then I turned it into a 31-second solve because of the F2L. As you can see, the slow TPS on that, especially on that first pair. But like I said, this is where the power of the application or the smartphone and the technology comes into play, because you can start doing training tools, start practicing your the different parts of your solves. Maybe somebody develops a RU one, or some of the different methods for and be able to train you so you can do analysis of your own solves. And this particular thing is really, really useful. And without this third-party stuff, it would be tough to recommend the Cube. You're like, and as you see, I'm just going through the different parts again still. But the bottom line, as we start talking about the Cube itself is excellent. The sticker quality is very, very high. The sticker colors are terrible. And as you can see in the application, the sticker colors are shown on screen, and they are expected to remain the same. I've been told that there's an update coming where you'll be able to define your own sticker shades within the application, and that's wonderful. Of course, you still would have to puncture holes in your blue and your green sides in order to replace the stickers. But that's a wonderful thing. But the rest of the application is not very useful. The timer's not very useful. As an analysis tool, it's not very useful. The games are not all that interesting. Other than, the Cubic Escape. And that one is mildly interesting for a little while. But, again, third-party stuff like this this particular tool, which was recommended to me by Johnner Analu online on Facebook. This is where the power comes to the forefront and where you can see it. So bottom line, do I recommend purchasing the Giiker Smart Cube? And it's tough, because at $42 or as high as $67 or whatever it is from Magic Cube Mall, I don't know. I do like that it's a real speed cube, unlike the one that we've seen on Kickstarter, which is larger and looks like glass and looks like it turns all right, but is just not the same type of cube that we're used to. This one's a real speed cube. Like I said, the performance is great. You're never going to have a problem with that. But the full package with the questionable quality on the charging thing, and with no real option that I'm aware of for buying a new one or buying a new charging accessory. If you can get this for $40 and you think that the training tools that are coming and are like this one here are something that you would really use, then go ahead and buy it. If you're worried about the quality of the cube itself or how it performs, don't be. That part, like I said, is not an issue. But if you're planning on just using the application that comes with it, then no, I can't recommend it, because quite frankly, the software that comes with it is just not good enough. But the third-party stuff is very exciting, has a lot of potential. I will link this particular site in the description down below, so you get a chance to look at it, check it out. So kind of a conditional recommendation. So yes, probably recommend it, especially if you can get it for $40 or less. But I can't give it an unconditional recommendation just because the quality of the software is just not great. I'm just going through a few more turns here just to show you. I don't remember exactly what I was trying to do here. As you may have noticed, I recorded this audio much later. But anyway, that's pretty much about it for my review and coverage of this the Giiker Smart Cube. I want to again shout out to GhostCuber for letting me have the cube to make this video for way too long. And I will link his channel down below, and I'll link the this Smart Cube timer application as well. If you like what you've seen, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you're notified. Check out my Teespring store, which will be linked down below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.